Good morning, it is Friday, which is the day before the dressage, and I'm up here early this morning because I'm going to go for a hack with lovely Sarah and her mare Millie before the dressage. Just a nice way to kind of ease him off, because we've done slightly more in the arena this week than I'd planned, just because of how it worked out with various things. So I really just want him to have a nice relaxed day. Ready to go. Oh, you can see where my headband's been. We're just waiting for our friend to be ready and then we shall be off. It is such a beautiful morning. It's cold, but it's sunny. Perfect. He's like, I'm really tired. I don't normally ride him first thing when he comes in, bless him. He's a bit tired, but you can sleep all day afterwards. This is my outfit today. I've got my Toggi winter sculpture leggings and base layer from last year, because it's sort of this like brushed, thicker cotton that keeps you warm. And then this is the weather beater reflective gilet, which I got during a campaign last year, I believe it was now. It might have even been the year before. But it's a nice piece of kit, especially when it's not so cold that you need a whole coat. Obviously it keeps you really really seen, and on mornings like this where it's super bright, sometimes you're walking along the road and the cars just can't see you properly because the sun's still so low. So be safe, be seen. I'm so proud of him. We literally went down past the dump, which is not super horse friendly, and was very busy today, and he was great. We went all past the golfers and he was great. Yes, he was. He was so brave. So he's just such a cracking horse. And now I'm gonna clean my tack, ready for tomorrow, and then go to work and let this one have a little nap. It's about 10 to 7. I'm just in my kitchen making some tea, and I've got my outfit on with a black jumper, and I have some waterproofs at the yard that I'm going to put on when I get up there. I've got my dressage chimes all sorted out, so I'll get to the yard for 7:30 and hopefully bring Harley in straight away and do his legs. The weather is really awful, so we're going to get a bit wet, but I don't care. I'm really excited. Made it to the yard. There we go. Oh gosh, that's worse. Oh, it's all just bad. The first job, if he's not already in, is to go and get Harley in from the field, because he's still out at night, which is lovely. He is going to be soaking because the rain has been raining for a few hours now. And then I just want him to have his breakfast in peace. I kind of don't want to bother him because I'm going to be poking him and prodding him with plaiting and stuff for a little while. So, and I do think this is going to be one of the challenges, potentially, because whereas Woody was absolutely fine with hours and hours of pampering and poping and whatever. Poping? That's not a word. Harley, as a 5-year-old, might just lose attention and get a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. So I kind of want to give him as much space as possible early on, get my stuff sorted. Then I'll plait, then I'll try and, I'll wash his legs, then I'll try and leave him alone as much as I can. But we'll see. Can you hear that rain? Oh, it's so horrible. It's all done. Now we're gonna let him dry off with breakfast, and then do the rest. Good boy. While he does that, I'm going to have some tea and get my plaiting stuff ready. This is the hot oil that I'm going to use later. That's ready. The one thing I had worried I didn't have was my hairnet, but I've just found a couple plus these, which I also had lost from like 2 years ago. So they're in an old crust exfoliating body shop, or body crush handy. I'm just putting bands into my plaiting comb, so they're all there for my plaits. I actually feel very relaxed, which I wasn't expecting. I'm going to start plaiting in just a moment. I think he's nearly done. But here's the thing. When I plait, personally I love podcasts and audiobooks. And when I plait for a competition, I like to listen to them because it helps to keep me calm and relaxed. And I can't do that if I'm filming on my phone. So also you wouldn't want to watch me plait. It takes me forever. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plait everything and then I'll show you afterwards. After saying that, I was actually enjoying the silence, so I decided to film a little bit for you. You're okay. It's all right. Just me. You're okay. So what I'm essentially doing here is just sectioning each bit of hair so that they're already banded and sectioned, and then I can go back and plait them all down and then roll them up. I actually found this really difficult today. His mane was so thick and I'd let it get too long, and so it was actually very difficult to plait him. And in the end, I kind of like gave up. Like I did the plaits, but then I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to spend any more time worrying about this. It's a baby show and we're just at home. No, Harley Bear. Honest Rider sent me a few goodies to try when I was doing the sustainability film with SCIB, and so this is my first time using the coat elixir. I'm using it to hot cloth Harley, which I've never done before, but essentially you use the hottest water you can stand with this kind of oil that the coat elixir is, and then you rub it all over them and it brings them up nice and shiny. He could probably do with a clip now, but we're holding off a little bit longer so that he's not too sharp to ride. So I might wait until my coach rides him over the winter when I have I'm actually on holiday for a significant period of time, so my coach is going to be riding him. So she was like, should we wait until then to clip him? And I was like, sounds great. I'm jumping forward in time to let you know that the reason that I haven't filmed any more clips before the test is because I had a bit of a logistical nightmare where I was locked out of something and it was very stressful. And so I was trying to sort that out whilst also getting ready for the test. But let's have a look at how we did. Final look with the hot clothing, and then I will show you a little feather that I found in the warm-up, and then we'll get straight into the test and I'll walk you through the test itself and also the marks that I was given. So let's dive straight in. One thing I know for sure is that I didn't have enough time for a warm-up. I set myself 25 minutes and honestly it was nowhere near enough. There was another horse in the warm-up as well, and it was just throwing Harley off, and there was a lot of tension. You can see he's already quite uptight. I got little moments where he was nice, but to be honest, there's a lot of tension in this test, and at points I actually found it really hard to slow him down. So you are going to see a lot of hollowing, you're going to see a lot of tension. I'm aware of it, I'm working on it, I'm aware of the flaws that I have as a rider, and I share them because we're a community, but I do have a coach. I'm having regular lessons with her, and she is whom I will be taking feedback from. I hope that that makes sense. So down the centre line, kicking things off with a lovely 6.5, fairly straight but a little hollow. I would say he was quite hollow there. He was also slightly napping out to the left towards the gate, but there we are. Our circle right 20 metres in a moment got actually a 7, and she said regular rhythm, and I would say that actually yes, okay, it's a little bit choppy, but it's nice and active. And I thought I rode the shape accurately, and I was sort of just trying to ignore the tension that was there with him and not sort of feeding into it. And then between B and F, the transition to walk for 1 horse's length, we had a 6.5 for that. The judge said that it was obedient, but he hollowed, of course, you can see the hollowing there. And then the next move was the one I always find most difficult, which is the the circle right half, 10-meter circle right from E to X and then X to B. We got a 6.5 for this movement. She said active but rather hollow, and it was. I mean, there was a lot going on. He was looking around. I was finding it quite difficult to get any sort of relaxation from him. You can see him hollowing there. He does find this quite difficult. It's quite hard. And then there's also a transition to medium walk here. This was a 6.5. She said obedient but hollow. I mean, that was very hollow. He's actually getting stronger throughout the test, and we're going to change his bit after this as well, because he's obviously not a huge fan of it. And we want to find him something he's comfortable in. So then we have the E circle left 20 meters diameter. So we got a 6.5 for this. She said active but hollow. I mean, you're seeing the theme here. There are moments where he just starts to soften in the way that he does with a schooling session, but I think, there's a lot going on with the weather and what have you as well, and that's not helping. The next is a transition to medium walk between K and A. We got a 6.5 for this upcoming movement, and it said again obedient but hollow. Then there was a change of rein, FXH, free walk on a long rein, and I thought this is either going to be quite a nice free walk on a long rein or it's going to be a real disaster, and I was really pleasantly surprised. We got a 6.5 for this mark. She said active but needs to stretch, which I think is fair. There's some downward movement there, but he's not really stretching. There's not a consistent contact. I think that's completely fair. Comment. And then as we get to H, there's a transition to medium walk, and then at C, a 20-meter circle right with a transition to working trot after X. We got a 6.5 for this movement, and again, can you guess the comment? It's obedient but hollowing. I think we produced a lovely accurate circle, but I think potentially that tension that he is feeling, he's like waiting for the transition to pop up to trot, but that's okay. As I said, it's the first test. The next movement is a change of rein, MXK, and we actually got a 7 for this. I tried my very best to just sort of be like, okay, ignore the sort of how hollow he is. See, there was a moment there where I thought he looked okay. This one I just thought, you know what, just let him do his speed, let him do what he wants. It's the last chance in front of the judge, and I think it paid off. She said regular rhythm. And then finally, we'll be going down the centre line. Oh gosh, this last centre line was pretty awful, I'll be honest. We got a 5.5 for this. She said resisting to walk, and you'll see why in a moment. I usually try to get him to walk first from my seat, but he was just not listening at all, and I really struggled to get him to walk. And then the halt immobility salute, I made a mistake. He halted, and I tried to correct the halt because it wasn't square, and so it ended up looking like he wasn't really paying attention, and so we got a 5.5 for that, and she said unbalanced and rather brief. But on the whole, I was very happy with our first attempt. Okay, so it was a bit tense. I think I slightly underestimated how much warm-up I needed, and then there was a lot of tension as we were going around, but I had a really nice time. Wow, I underestimated our score. We got 64% and we came 4th place. I'm so proud of him. Most of our comments, I can't get the door open, hang on. Most of our comments were just about hollowing, like active and obedient but hollow. So I'm very proud of him. You are such a good boy. So I was just in here getting pictures with Harley, and look what's on his back. Just a little tiny feather. I'm just cleaning my tack and having a little reflection while the barn is quiet, and I'm just so proud of him. I mean, if that's where we're starting, give us a year and look back and see where we are. So happy. Oh my god, I just audibly gasped. I didn't want to record this in case I didn't find them. When we were out here this morning getting the horses, I took my phone out of my pocket to take the clip of Harley that you will have seen, and I dropped my car keys. And if you look at the size of this field, so the gate is over there, and then this is the field. God, I feel the relief in my heart. I realised that I'd lost the keys, and my Equitex was in my car, my white Equitex, and my partner came down to watch me, and I was like, I tried to call him, and he was like, oh no, I'm already here. And I was like, oh my god, I was like, I need the spare keys, it's in the car, what am I gonna do? And also, what if someone finds my keys and like drives my car? And so anyway, he's like, okay, I'm gonna drive home. So he like drives home, gets back just in time for my test. I have to do my test in a blue number because I still couldn't get in my car. And then I came up here before my test, looked, couldn't find them. Came up here again after my test with a friend, couldn't find them. And I was like, just before I go home, I'm just gonna come up here once more and look for my keys. And I've been walking around this field really, really slowly, listening to my audiobook. I'm listening to It by Stephen King, which I've listened to many times, I think a couple of times now, but it's a perfect time of year. And anyway, I found the keys. Oh, I didn't want to share details earlier because I was like, oh my goodness, what if I never find the keys and then people know that my keys are missing? Like, that doesn't feel like a good thing to do. Doesn't feel like a good thing to put on the internet. But anyway, I'm just so glad I found them. But yeah, it wasn't exactly the added stress that I wanted when I did my dressage test today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sure we'll be back on YouTube soon when we've got an interesting story to tell. But for now, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.